Have you ever tried to stop thinking for just 3 seconds? Have you ever noticed that the harder you try, the louder the mind becomes? And have you ever wondered, if you can't control your own thoughts, then who's really in charge? These are not small questions. They are questions that have followed humanity since the beginning of time. We live every moment inside our minds. We feel, remember, decide, and dream through this mysterious thing called mind. Yet most of us have never truly seen what it is. We assume we are the thinker, but are we? If the mind runs on its own, even in sleep, then who is the I inside all this motion? Hello and welcome back to Son.Mindfulness. It's wonderful to have you here again, in this quiet corner where reflection meets daily life. If you're new, this channel is a gentle space to explore mindfulness, Buddhist wisdom, and the art of inner peace. Here we slow down, we listen deeply. We learn how awareness itself can transform our suffering into understanding. So please, make yourself comfortable, take a deep breath. Let's begin this journey together. In today's talk, we'll explore a question that touches every human life. Why can't the mind stop? Why does it keep running, even when we long for silence? And most importantly, what can we do to find freedom within it? This isn't just philosophy, it's about your mornings, the rush of thoughts before coffee. It's about those sleepless nights when memories replay again and again. It's about the quiet wish in every heart, I just want peace. But peace doesn't come from pushing thoughts away. It begins by understanding what the mind really is. The Buddha taught that the mind isn't a thing, it's a flow. It's not a solid self, but the very movement of experience itself. When we see that clearly, everything changes. Suffering starts to loosen its hold. A calm awareness begins to rise like dawn over a restless sea. That's what we'll discover together in this teaching. We'll look at the surface waves, our senses, emotions, and daily thoughts. We'll dive into the deeper currents that shape our habits and reactions, and we'll find the small, sacred moment where freedom truly begins. If you've ever felt trapped in your own thinking, this reflection is for you. If you've ever longed for stillness but didn't know where to look, stay with me. By the end of this talk, you may never see your mind the same way again. Before we continue, I want to thank you for being part of this growing community. Your presence means more than you know. If you find these reflections helpful, please subscribe to Son.Mindfulness. Your support helps keep this channel alive so that peace and clarity can reach more hearts. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. What does mind mean to you? How do you experience its endless motion? I love reading your reflections. They remind us that we're all learning together. May you always be healthy, peaceful, and happy. May good fortune walk beside you in every season of life. Now take one gentle breath. Let the noise of the world fall away. And stay with me until the end. Because once you understand the nature of mind, you'll see that silence has been waiting inside you all along. Part 2. The Mind as the Buddha Saw It. You and I live with our minds every single moment. Yet how rarely do we pause to ask what this mind really is? We assume it's us, our voice, our thoughts, our memories. But the Buddha invited us to look deeper. He didn't see the mind as a solid thing that we possess. He saw it as a movement, a living stream, always flowing, always changing, never quite the same twice. When you sit by a river, have you ever noticed how the water keeps moving? Even if you step into it again, it's never the same water touching your skin. The Buddha said our mind is just like that river. It's not a fixed self sitting behind the eyes, watching life go by. It is the flow of experience itself, the seeing, the hearing, the thinking, the feeling, all arising and fading away, moment after moment. So when we say, my mind, it's almost a misunderstanding. There isn't really a my. There's just mind. Thinking happening, feeling happening, awareness happening? Have you ever noticed how a thought comes before you decide it? You don't plan your next thought. It just appears, like a bird landing on a branch. And when you try to hold on to it, it flies away, replaced by another. That's the nature of the mind, a ceaseless unfolding. One of my old friends, a retired teacher in California, once told me, "I tried to meditate for 20 years, but I could never stop my mind." I smiled and said, "That's because it's not meant to stop. The mind's nature is to move. To ask the mind to stop thinking is like asking the heart to stop beating. Its job is to move, to perceive, to respond, to remember, to imagine." But here's where wisdom begins. You can see the movement without being swept away by it. Like watching a river, you don't have to jump in. You can sit on the bank and watch it flow. The Buddha used a beautiful word, citta. It doesn't mean mind in the Western sense, as if it were a machine or a storage box of thoughts. Citta means a living process, an ever-changing stream of knowing. When you understand this, even just a little, something softens. You stop trying to control the flow, and you start to understand it. A modern neuroscientist might say that the brain is a system of constant electrical and chemical activity, a process, not a person. The Buddha saw that 2,500 years ago, not through microscopes, but through silence. He watched the movement of mind until he saw that there was no fixed thinker, only thinking. No separate feeler, only feeling. When you truly see this, you begin to taste freedom. Because the one who suffers is the one who clings. The one who says, "This is my thought, my emotion, my story." But when you see that thoughts are just passing clouds in the sky of awareness, you no longer take them so personally. You realize that sadness, anger, and joy, all of them, simply come and go. They don't belong to anyone. They are like weather patterns moving through the open sky, sometimes stormy, sometimes clear, but the sky itself is never harmed. That open sky is awareness. It has been with you your whole life, unchanged, silent, spacious. When you rest in that awareness, you are no longer the storm. You are the sky. Have you ever sat quietly and suddenly felt the stillness behind all your thoughts? That brief moment, when you are aware of thinking but not caught in it, is the doorway to peace. It's not something to force or chase, it's something to notice. Like realizing that you were never lost, you were just looking in the wrong place. So the Buddha didn't teach us to fix or purify the mind as if it were broken. He taught us to understand its nature, to see that it's not a solid self that owns experience, but the very unfolding of experience itself. When we see this directly, not just as an idea, but as a living reality, everything changes. Fear loosens, control softens, and a quiet compassion begins to rise, for ourselves, for others, for this fragile, ever-changing life. So next time you sit down and notice your thoughts racing, don't fight them. Just smile gently and remember, this is the river of mind, flowing, shimmering, alive. You don't need to dam it or redirect it. Just watch. The seeing itself is the peace you were looking for. Part 3. The 2 layers of mind, surface and depth. When you sit quietly for a moment, what do you notice first? Maybe the sound of traffic in the distance. Maybe the hum of your refrigerator. Maybe the warmth of sunlight touching your skin. And somewhere behind all of that, a quiet stream of thoughts, moving, changing, whispering their stories. It can feel like everything is happening at once. Sight, sound, touch, thought, emotion, all weaving together into this living moment we call me. But the Buddha said there's more than meets the eye. What you're aware of right now is only the surface of the mind, the waves dancing above a much deeper ocean. Have you ever stood by the sea and watched how the surface shimmers with constant movement? Waves rise and fall, crash and dissolve, yet beneath them, the deep current flows quietly, powerfully, unseen. The mind, too, has its surface waves and its hidden depths. The upper layer is what we normally experience, the senses. The Buddha called them the 6 sense doors: sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and mind itself. Each one is like an open window through which life pours in. A color touches the eye, and instantly the mind says, "Blue sky." A scent passes by, and a memory of your mother's kitchen appears. You don't decide these things. They simply happen. The meeting of eye and form gives rise to visual consciousness. The meeting of ear and sound gives rise to hearing. It's automatic, as natural as breathing. That is the surface activity of the mind, the part we can notice if we slow down enough. But below that surface lies something deeper, a continuous undercurrent that most people never realize is there. Early Buddhist masters called it bhavanga, the life continuum. It's the background flow that keeps consciousness going even when you're not actively thinking or perceiving. You could say it's like the soft hum of the universe that never stops. Think of the moment you fall into deep sleep. No dreams, no thoughts, no awareness of the world. When you wake up, you still know who you are. Something was quietly running all along, keeping the story of you intact. That's the bhavanga, the deep current of mind that carries continuity. Modern neuroscience describes something similar. Scientists like Antonio Damasio talk about the proto-self, a constant mapping of the body's internal state, always adjusting, always balancing. Even when you're not aware, your brain and body are working together to sustain life. The Buddha saw this thousands of years ago, not through instruments, but through direct observation of the mind. He taught that this deeper current isn't empty. It holds the imprints of our past, what he called anusaya, the latent tendencies. These are the grooves formed by repeated habits of thought and emotion, like a trail worn into the earth after years of walking the same path. They rest quietly in the depths until something on the surface stirs them awake. A certain tone of voice, a familiar face, even a smell. And suddenly, you're angry, or sad, or defensive without knowing why. Have you ever been surprised by your own reaction, thinking, "Why did that bother me so much?" That's a glimpse of the deeper mind revealing its hidden currents. Most of us spend our lives on the surface, trying to manage the waves. We meditate a little, we distract ourselves, we chase pleasant feelings and avoid painful ones. But without seeing the deeper flow, the same patterns keep returning. The same arguments, the same disappointments, the same longing for peace that never quite arrives. Because the roots of our reactions lie below the surface. In that unseen current, let's imagine for a moment that your life is like an ocean. At the surface, you respond to the weather, storms of stress, gentle breezes of joy, the tides of love and loss. But far beneath, there's a deep, silent movement that has been flowing since you were born. It carries your memories, your instincts, your sense of I am, and yet you rarely dive that deep. Meditation, when done gently and patiently, is like learning to dive beneath the waves. At first, it feels noisy and restless. Thoughts crash like surf on the shore. But as you stay still, you begin to sense the quiet beneath it all. That's when you touch the bhavanga, not as a concept, but as an experience of still continuity. It's what holds you when you sleep, when you faint, even when you're lost in daydreams. A monk once told me, awareness is like the ocean floor. Everything else is movement above it. I think that's true, but it's also true that those deep waters carry our unseen habits, the tendencies that shape our character. A person who's been angry for decades doesn't need a reason to get angry. The pattern lives in the depth. A person who has cultivated kindness naturally radiates warmth without trying. What lives deep within will eventually surface. This is why awareness is so essential. Not to suppress the surface waves, but to understand the ocean as a whole. When you start to observe your reactions with curiosity instead of judgment, you're already swimming deeper. You might notice, oh, this irritation isn't new. It's been here many times before. That simple scene is how transformation begins. Because the moment you see the pattern, you're no longer completely inside it. You've stepped back enough to breathe. And in that breathing, the old current starts to lose its grip. One day, an elderly student told me, I finally understand. The storm was never outside me. He had lost his wife and spent years feeling broken. When he began to meditate, he discovered that beneath his grief, there was still a current of life moving, patient and kind. He said, it was there all along. I just couldn't hear it over the noise. That's the discovery of the deeper mind. It's not about escaping life. It's about seeing the full depth of it. To live only at the surface is to be tossed endlessly by the waves, but to know the depths is to find the still point that holds everything. It doesn't mean the storms will stop. The mind will still rise and fall. That's its nature. But you will know that there's something beneath it all that doesn't shake. A quiet awareness, steady as the sea itself. And once you taste that stillness, you begin to live differently. You stop trying to fix every wave, and instead, you start to understand the water. You realize that peace doesn't come from controlling the surface, but from resting in the depth. So tonight, when you lie in bed and feel your mind still chattering, remember this. Beneath all that movement, there's a deep silence that has never left you. You don't have to create it. It's already there. All you need is the courage to listen for it. Like a diver descending into still water, you let go, you trust, and you allow yourself to be carried by that quiet current home. Art 4. The moment everything changes. There's a moment so small you could almost miss it, when life turns in a new direction. It happens hundreds of times each day, yet we rarely notice. That moment is where karma is born, where our future quietly takes shape, and the Buddha called it the only place where real freedom exists. Let's slow down and look at it together. Imagine you're sitting in your garden. The afternoon sun rests on your shoulders, then suddenly, ding! A bell rings in the distance. The sound travels through the air and reaches your ear. In that instant, the deep current of the mind, that quiet bhavanga we spoke of, trembles. It breaks the surface, turning toward the sound. Awareness lights up. Sound, just pure knowing, not yet a name, not yet a story. Then the mind recognizes, ah, that's the temple bell. And almost immediately, something else follows. A feeling, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Maybe it's beautiful, calming. Maybe it's annoying. You were lost in thought and the bell interrupted. Or maybe you hardly care. Whatever it is, that brief flash of feeling is the seed of what comes next. Because right after feeling comes reaction. The Buddha called this jhavana, the rushing forward. In those fleeting moments, the mind runs swiftly through its patterns. 7 tiny instants, one after another, shaping your response. It happens so quickly you can't see it, but it decides everything. If irritation arises, that bell again, can't they stop ringing it? The mind runs with aversion. If appreciation blooms, ah, how peaceful that sound. The mind runs with joy, and with each run, a seed is planted. Seeds of future irritation or seeds of gratitude. seeds that will ripen into the person you are becoming. Every single reaction, big or small, leaves its fingerprint on the heart. You might think, but I didn't choose to be irritated. That's true. Most of our reactions are habits, built up through years of repetition. They live deep in the bhavanga, waiting for the right sound, face, or memory to wake them up. But here's the hope. Awareness can step in. Right between feeling and reaction lies a thin sliver of possibility, a breath-wide gap where something new can happen. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." The Buddha would have nodded, "You can't control the bell, the weather, or the words of others. But you can meet the moment differently." That's the miracle of awareness. The next time irritation rises, pause for half a breath. Notice what's happening. This is irritation. This is how it feels in the body. You don't have to push it away, and you don't have to feed it. Just feel it. See it, know it. In that knowing, the old habit begins to loosen. I remember an old student, a Vietnam veteran, who once told me, "I used to explode before I even knew I was angry. After months of mindfulness practice," he said, "now I still get angry, but I see it coming, like a wave I can ride instead of drown in." That's awareness finding the gap. He hadn't changed the world. He had changed the moment before reaction. That's where transformation happens, not in the grand decisions, but in these tiny, invisible spaces. You could say karma isn't created by what happens to you, but by how you meet what happens. A harsh word hits your ear. That's just sound. But your reaction, resentment or forgiveness, that's where your future is written. When you see it this way, every moment becomes sacred. Every sound, every glance, every discomfort is a chance to plant a new seed. It's humbling, isn't it? We spend our lives trying to fix outer circumstances, hoping they'll make us peaceful. But the real work happens in the invisible space between hearing and reacting, between seeing and judging. That's where the old self is reborn or released. When you bring awareness there, you start to rewrite your own conditioning. Little by little, patience grows where anger used to live. Contentment takes root where craving once burned. Courage quietly replaces fear. And the mind, which once ran wild like a horse, begins to recognize the reins of wisdom. Sometimes people tell me, "I can't control my emotions." And I say, you don't have to control them. You just have to notice them in time, because noticing is what changes everything. It's like catching the spark before it becomes a forest fire. In that pause, the mind remembers its freedom. At first, the gap feels impossibly small, gone before you can grasp it. But with practice, it widens. Awareness moves from the background to the foreground. Then, even in the middle of chaos, you find yourself breathing instead of reacting. You're still in the world, still human, still feeling everything, but the old compulsion to fight or flee begins to fade, and something softer takes its place: understanding. One evening, after a meditation retreat, a woman in her 70s came to speak with me. She said, "I used to snap at my husband every time he forgot something. But now I just notice the sadness behind my anger. It changes everything." That's it. The moment everything changes. Not because the world behaves differently, but because you're awake at the only place where choice exists. This is why mindfulness isn't about being calm all the time. It's about being conscious in that exact moment when karma is being created, to see the old habit forming and gently choose another path. You might still feel irritation, but you breathe kindness into it. You might still feel fear, but you stand a little closer to love. And each time you do, you plant a different seed. Over months, over years, those seeds grow into a different garden, one filled with patience, compassion, and quiet strength. So the next time a bell rings, or a harsh word, or a painful memory. Pause. Just pause. Feel the breath. Recognize this is the moment everything changes. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to control it. Just be awake enough to see it. That seeing, that gentle, conscious seeing, is the beginning of freedom. And the more you practice, the more you'll realize freedom was never somewhere else. It was always here, in this breath, in this heartbeat, in this single, miraculous moment of awareness. Part 5. Why the mind never stops. Have you ever noticed how the mind never really rests? Even when the house is quiet, even when you close your eyes, something keeps moving inside. One thought fades, another appears. Memories, worries, plans, songs that won't leave. Sometimes it feels like being caught in a restless tide that never stops coming in. The Buddha saw this thousands of years ago. He said, "The mind is restless, unsteady, difficult to guard, difficult to control." He compared it to a monkey swinging through the forest, leaping from branch to branch, never still for long. And if you watch your own mind, you'll see he was right. You try to sit quietly, but within seconds, you're somewhere else, remembering a friend, replaying an argument, planning dinner. So the question isn't how to stop the mind, but why it keeps moving. What keeps this endless motion alive? The Buddha traced it to something he called paticca, dependent origination. Everything arises because of conditions, and when those conditions change, the movement changes too. So the mind doesn't run on its own. It's fueled by the things we put into it. And there are three main fuels, three roots that keep it spinning. The first is craving, what the Buddha called lobha. Every time we want something, a taste, a feeling, a bit of approval, the mind reaches outward. It stretches, imagines, grasps. And for a moment, we believe that getting what we want will finally make us whole. But have you noticed what happens after desire is satisfied? The calm lasts only a few breaths, then another wanting appears. A new gadget, a new flavor, a new distraction. The philosopher Schopenhauer once wrote, "Life swings like a pendulum between pain and boredom. When we don't get what we want, we suffer. When we do get it, satisfaction quickly fades and we search for the next thing." That constant reaching is the heartbeat of craving. It keeps the mind moving like a wheel that never stops turning. The second fuel is aversion, or dosa. It's the mind's push against what it doesn't like. A harsh word, an uncomfortable feeling, a painful memory. The moment it appears, we tense up, we resist. We create stories to justify our resistance. He shouldn't have said that. I can't stand this pain. Why is this happening to me? That pushing away is also movement. The mind keeps running, not toward what it loves, but away from what it fears. And the more we run, the more power the fear gains. It's like trying to escape your own shadow. The faster you flee, the closer it follows. The third fuel is delusion, moha, not seeing reality clearly. This one is the most subtle and the most powerful. Because we don't see things as they truly are, impermanent, interdependent, without a fixed self, we keep chasing what can't be held. We build our lives around an idea of me. My story, my success, my identity. And this me feels fragile, always needing to be protected or praised. So the mind keeps working, defending, comparing, proving. It becomes a tireless guardian of an illusion. Have you noticed how exhausting it is to be somebody all the time? Always trying to be good enough, smart enough, young enough, spiritual enough. That's the endless labor of delusion, the effort to maintain something that isn't stable to begin with. These three roots, craving, aversion, and delusion, are like three engines that never turn off. They spin the wheel of thought, emotion, and reaction, again and again. That's why even in meditation, the mind keeps moving. Because the conditions, wanting, resisting, misunderstanding, are still present. But here's the beautiful truth the Buddha offered. If the mind moves because of conditions, then when those conditions change, the movement can change too. Not stop completely, because motion is its nature, but soften, become lighter, freer. When craving is replaced by contentment, the mind doesn't rush so much. When aversion is replaced by acceptance, the mind doesn't tighten. When delusion is replaced by understanding, the mind no longer needs to defend an imaginary self. It begins to flow naturally, without struggle. Think of a river after the storm has passed. The same water still moves, but now it glides quietly, reflecting the sky instead of fighting the wind. That's how the mind feels when its conditions are purified. Still moving, still alive, but peaceful in its movement. A woman once told me, "My thoughts used to feel like a battlefield. Now they feel like birds in the sky, still flying, but I no longer chase them." That's the transformation of practice. You don't silence the mind by force. You free it by understanding. Each time you notice a desire arising and smile instead of clinging, the fuel burns a little less. Each time you meet discomfort with patience instead of resistance, the wheel slows down. Each time you question the story of I, me, mine, the illusion loses its power. Gradually, the restlessness begins to ease. You find yourself less caught by every thought, less thrown by every emotion. The mind still moves. Of course it does, but it moves like wind through bamboo, not like a storm tearing at trees. And beneath the movement, you sense something steady, awareness itself. That awareness isn't restless. It doesn't crave or resist. It simply knows. It's the quiet witness of every motion, untouched by the motion itself. When you rest there, even for a moment, you realize peace was never about stopping the mind. It was about no longer being pushed around by it. You might still have desires, but they no longer own you. You might still feel anger, but you see it as passing weather, not your identity. You might still forget, still fall, still get caught, but you wake up sooner. And waking up again and again is what it means to walk the path. So tonight, when your mind feels restless, when it refuses to stop talking, try this. Don't fight it. Don't tell it to be quiet. Just listen. Listen like you've listened to a river at night, the current still flowing, the water alive. And know that beneath that sound, beneath all that motion, there is something still, ancient and free. It has been there since before your first thought. It will remain after your last one fades. That stillness is not the absence of mind. It is its true nature, clear and open, vast as the sky. Part 6. The Way to Freedom. Not stopping the mind, but transforming the conditions. For most of our lives, we try to fix the mind. We say, I wish I could stop thinking, or I just want peace. But the more we chase peace, the farther it seems to run. It's like trying to smooth a pool of water while your hand keeps stirring it. The Buddha understood this paradox. He taught that peace doesn't come from stopping the mind. It comes from understanding it. To fight the mind is still to be trapped inside it. To understand it is to step outside the storm and see the sky. Let's look at that clearly. Imagine a child playing at the edge of the sea, trying to stop the waves with his hands. No matter how hard he pushes, the ocean keeps moving. But when he finally stops struggling, something beautiful happens. He begins to watch. He sees how each wave rises, curls, and disappears on its own. He begins to laugh because he realizes the ocean was never the enemy. Our thoughts and emotions are like those waves. They rise from causes, they play for a moment, and they fade. When we stop trying to control them, we can begin to understand them. That's what the Buddha called sati, mindfulness. Not doing something to the mind, but simply seeing the mind as it is. When you sit quietly, a thought appears. You don't have to chase it away or follow it. You just notice, there is a thought. It might say, I'm bored, or I'm sad, or I should be meditating better. Just notice it, like watching a cloud drift across the sky. The cloud doesn't stay in the sky, it only passes through. In that simple seeing, a space opens, a gentle distance between awareness and the thought itself. And in that space, freedom begins. Because you realize, I am not that thought. I am the one who sees it. When anger rises, don't rush to bury it or express it. Feel it in the body, the heat, the tightness, the heartbeat quickening. Let it be seen. You may even whisper, this is what anger feels like. Already, the spell is broken. The emotion is no longer a monster controlling you. It becomes a passing visitor. And when you stop fighting the visitor, it tends to leave more quickly. Carl Jung once said, what you resist persists. What you accept transforms. That is mindfulness in everyday language. Awareness doesn't suppress anything. It allows things to reveal their true nature. A painful memory comes, you breathe. A craving appears, you breathe. A wave of sadness moves through, you breathe. You keep watching the dance without forgetting that you are the watcher. Slowly, something begins to shift. Thoughts still come, but they lose their power to pull you under. Emotions still move, but they don't define who you are. You begin to sense a calm that doesn't depend on what's happening. It's not cold or distant. It's warm, like sunlight on a quiet morning. Present, steady, and kind. The Buddha called this quality viveka, inner seclusion, a peaceful spaciousness of heart. It doesn't mean living apart from the world. It means living in the world without being tossed by it. You can be in traffic and still calm. You can face illness and still clear. Because peace is no longer a condition, it's a presence. One of my students, a grandmother in Oregon, once said, I finally realized peace isn't when everything's calm. It's when I start fighting what's happening. That is wisdom speaking through ordinary life. When you no longer demand the world to be different, the world begins to feel different. This is how transformation really works. You don't stop the mind's movement, you change what fuels it. Remember the three roots? Craving, aversion, and delusion. Through awareness, each one starts to dissolve. Craving softens into contentment. Aversion opens into acceptance. Delusion melts into understanding. The conditions that once kept the wheel spinning begin to fade, and the mind's movement becomes lighter. You can see this in everyday acts. When you listen deeply instead of arguing, that's transformation. When you forgive instead of replaying the hurt, that's transformation. When you notice a desire but don't obey it, that's transformation. These small awakenings are the building blocks of freedom. The mind still thinks, still remembers, still responds, but now it does so without chains. Even an awakened one, an arahant, still has a functioning mind. They still see and hear, feel pain and joy, but their reactions no longer plant new seeds of suffering. They act without greed, hatred, or confusion. Their mind moves like the wind, responsive, clear, and free. Imagine a candle in a room with no draft. The flame still burns, but it doesn't flicker. That's how the enlightened mind moves, steady, luminous, undisturbed. And we too can taste a drop of that peace. Every time we watch a thought without grabbing it, we take one step closer. Every time we feel a feeling without pushing it away, we take another. Freedom doesn't appear in some distant heaven. It grows right here, breath by breath, in ordinary awareness. The Buddha said, a tamed mind brings happiness. But taming doesn't mean suppressing. It means understanding, letting go, and gently guiding. Like training a young elephant with patience and kindness. When it trusts you, it follows naturally. The same is true of the mind. When you treat it with gentleness instead of force, it begins to settle on its own. So tonight, before you sleep, try this simple practice. Sit quietly for 5 minutes. Let the day fall away. Watch your thoughts as if they were clouds drifting by. Some are light and soft, some are dark and heavy, but none of them are you. You are the sky in which they appear. The sky has room for every cloud, yet it's never stained by any of them. That sky, that vast, open awareness, is your true nature. It doesn't need to be achieved. It only needs to be remembered. When you remember, peace is no longer a goal. It's simply what remains when the struggle ends. Part 7. The invitation to practice and the closing reflection. My friend, we've come to the quiet end of this journey together. You've listened with patience and an open heart. You've looked closely at your mind and seen its dance of movement and stillness. You've learned that peace isn't found by stopping the mind. It's discovered by understanding how it moves. You've seen the waves and the deep current beneath them. You've found that small, sacred moment where choice appears. You've touched the truth that every reaction plants a seed for the future. And you've heard that freedom begins with awareness, not control. This is the heart of the teaching. To know the mind, to meet it kindly, to walk through each day awake, gentle, and free. Now, take a moment. Breathe in slowly. Feel gratitude for this breath, this body, this beautiful, impermanent life. You made time to listen. You gave space to your heart. That already is practice. You might ask, where do I go from here? The answer is simple. Practice in the ordinary moments. While washing dishes, feel the water and be present. While driving, notice the rhythm of your breath. When emotion rises, pause and recognize it as passing weather. Every small act of awareness is a seed of freedom. Peace grows where attention rests with kindness. You've already begun, and for that, I'm deeply grateful. Thank you for walking this path beside me. Thank you for listening with your whole heart. Thank you for being part of this quiet community of understanding. I hope these words have brought you insight and comfort. If they have touched something within you, let me know. What part of this journey spoke to you most deeply? What truth will you carry into tomorrow? Please share your reflections in the comments below. Your voice may be the light someone else needs. And if you found this message meaningful, I invite you to stay connected. Subscribe to Son.Mindfulness for more reflections, stories, and quiet teachings. Your support helps this small channel continue to share peace and understanding. Together, we can keep spreading compassion in a world that needs it. Every like, every comment, every share, it all matters. It tells the algorithm, but more importantly, it tells the universe, peace still matters. So please, subscribe, follow, and share your thoughts. Let's continue walking together on this mindful path. From my heart to yours, thank you. May you be healthy in body. May you be peaceful in mind. May you be gentle with yourself and kind to others. May good fortune follow you in every season of your life. And may you always remember, you are not the storm. You are the sky that holds it all. Thank you for watching, my friend. Be well, be kind, and keep returning to the quiet place within, where peace never ends. Thank you.